Roll it. Welcome to The Point.
Hey everybody, what is going on? And welcome once again. Man, last week was crazy. Last week was crazy, but welcome once again to the Haystacks and Ricky B show, otherwise known, aka The Point. And I believe this is episode 23, and we are still kicking ass and taking names. Or is it taking names and kicking that? Taking ass, kicking name. It's something like that. You get it. Picking up what I'm putting down, right? How's everything going in Haystacks world?
Busy, man. Don't even feel like I had 2 days off already.
Yeah, man. That's how it goes. Now look, we had a sort of a busy week, huh? For those of you who don't know who I'm talking about, hey, the union has made a comeback, as so to speak. Not exactly a comeback, but a comeback. Head on over to theartsofwrestling.com and check it out. We may or may not be there very long. What are we there for? You just never know. So go over and check us out. theartsofwrestling.com, Haystacks and War Chain in full effect. Made a huge impact at ID4 2020. If you haven't seen it, you got to watch it. The numbers are off the chain. We couldn't be prouder. And, well, let me take that back. We really don't give a shit. Wink, wink. So moving right along, getting into the show this week. One of the biggest things that come out this week that Haystacks was actually shocked by, if I'm being completely honest. And that was, we talked about last week, AEW filed for trademarks for the Four Horsemen name, and not just to use it for, merchandising, but actually use it for wrestlers to entertain using that phrase, which would basically tell the lapers out there, including myself, because I'm one of them, that the Four Horsemen or some rendition of it is making a comeback in AEW. So this week, did you hear the news about Ric Flair and what he had to say about it?
I haven't heard his exact quote yet, but I've heard rumblings.
Well, apparently Ric Flair is absolutely for it. He said, and I quote, "I would be for it when he was asked. No matter who does it or how it's done, it's attributed to us," Flair said. "To this day, I'll see Arn and we'll do a signing now and then, and the whole joint walks around with their four fingers up to this day." Now, as far as AOW goes, four up, four down. But as far as the Four Horsemen goes, the real ones, it's pretty cool, man. And Ric Flair is a businessman. We all know that. Ric Flair has been around this world. He's been up and down. You know what I mean? So he knows what this is. And let's be completely honest here. I know he's on a Legends contract, so to speak, with WWE. However, we know that he went to TNA, and he actually had a pretty good little stint over there after retiring WWE and being inducted not once but twice into the Hall of Fame of WWE. So let me ask you this. I'm going to ask you two questions. How do you feel about Ric Flair endorsing this AEW version? And two, do you think we'll ever see the Nature Boy in All Elite Wrestling?
I'm honestly not surprised on what he said. Everybody knows now that kayfabe is dead. If anybody doesn't know, by the way, kayfabe is dead. Everybody knows that Rick and Dusty were very, very tight.
Right.
Everybody knows, obviously, if he was tight with Dusty, he was going to be close with Dustin and Cody. And Rick has always been one of those guys. On camera, he's always said, screw the younger generation. But Rick has always been one of those guys that has always been there to help the next generation and give people a push. And I think that he sees, well, I know he's been in the business long enough, he sees the importance of bringing back the Four Horsemen. I mean, it's not being used. They try to knock off with Evolution. It was, okay. But to hear those horses one more time and to hear that song hit one more time and to see who the talent could possibly be, which obviously, would probably be Cody, Kenny Omega, probably the Young Bucks.
It'll be interesting to see. I truly believe. Let me ask you the other question. Do you think you're going to see Ric Flair in AEW?
I think it's a good possibility.
Why do you say that?
I don't think that we'll ever see him wrestle. But as far as showing up as, a pop factor, a wow factor, maybe even in a managerial role, he might, if they do this whole Four Horsemen thing, he might kind of show up as like a Paul Ellering type role. But I definitely see it happening at some point. Because, once AEW starts doing a Hall of Fame, he's going to be one of the first people they induct.
Yeah, Ric Flair, I think he's earned the right to go wherever the hell he wants to go, if I'm being completely honest. And, there was a lot of people that were sour on Flair going to TNA back in the day, or Impact, whatever you want to call it. And me personally, I wasn't one of them. I saw two different companies. So when he did the whole retirement angle with Shawn Michaels at WrestleMania and being inducted into the Hall of Fame, that's the WWE. That's the end of the story for WWE. So it made sense for me. I know there's a lot of people that were butthurt, man, about him going to TNA and then firing back up. Now, let's not forget, he owed a lot of people a lot of money and he was broke. But at the same time, who the hell cares, man? It's the Nature Boy.
They tried to do that kind of a knockoff Four Horsemen over there.
Main Event Mafia.
Yeah, the Main Event Mafia.
Right. Which was entertaining.
Yeah, that was a pretty damn good one right there. Kurt Angle and Sting and AJ Styles and Ric Flair. And then they also did what was the other one that TNA did? There was Fortune.
Yes.
That was another good one.
Yeah, Booker T, Main Event Mafia as well.
Yeah.
Was it? I think he was in both, actually.
I believe he was.
But yeah, that was some good shit. But anybody who bitches and complains about Flair going to TNA, or anybody who would bitch about him going to AEW, let me present my case for you. The Hardy Boys, again, local boys here. You saw them go from WWE to TNA to Ring of Honor they went from one to the other to the other to the other to the other, and then boom, back to WWE. And you saw the pop when they showed up at WrestleMania. And that pop wouldn't have been possible without all this stuff they did. So if they can do it and they are truly legends in their own right, I don't see why anybody would be upset with Ric Flair. Now, of course, we got off track a little bit, but all of that said is to say that it sounds to me like Ric Flair is keeping that door open.
Right.
And I, for one, I'm good with it. I'm good with it. I'd love to see him pop up in AEW. And in fact, if I am Tony Khan, if I am Cody Rhodes, I'm making moves trying to make that happen.
Absolutely. The thing that people don't realize, or they don't want to realize, is this is the stuff that's good for business. I mean, look at when Sting finally came to WWE. It was huge. Even though WWE screwed it up, seeing Bret Hart the first time show up in WCW was huge.
Yeah.
Seeing Shane McMahon show up on WCW the night they sold it was gigantic. Seeing Bish come back to WWE for the first time, huge. It does nothing but good for the business as a whole. And I understand that there's these people that, well, WWE is the only legitimate out there. Yeah, but they suck because they don't have competition, and they can keep force feeding us this bullcrap, half-ass stuff that they keep giving us because there is competition.
Absolutely. And competition is good for the business. It's good for any business. It's absolutely any business. It doesn't make a damn what it is. So
hint.
Yeah, no shit. So keeping in the same vein with All Elite Wrestling with AEW, a report came out this week, and you take it with a grain of salt, but I'm sure there's truth to this. And we'll talk about it, hash it out, and toss it back and forth here. But you have to consider the source, because this guy, I'm not sure at what point he became, I'm not dissing the guy, but I'm not sure at what point the guy became such a legend in the wrestling business. But apparently details surfaced this week, and I use that term loosely because the article that I read, which was basically a transcript of a podcast, there really wasn't a lot of details. But Conan, everybody remembers Conan from TNA, from WCW, hell of a wrestler, hell of a talent, very charismatic, just a badass. And I like Conan, I do. But it seems to me he's become in his later years a lot like Ryback. Ryback is no doubt a bad son of a bitch. He's a big dude. He is very talented. He is charismatic. He does have a following. But to have his opinion given on every little thing every day on the dirt sheets, this diarrhea of the mouth, Ryback is in no position, in my opinion, to be given the status, or what's the word I'm looking for? When you think you want to hear from an authority in pro wrestling, which by no means am I saying I'm more than he is, but you don't think Ryback, man. You know what I mean? And you sure as hell, in my opinion, don't think Conan. But anyway, although Conan's got a hell of a lot more pull, a lot of more clout, and I got a lot more respect for what he's done because he's been around a lot longer. But he came out this week, according to him, talking about the CM Punk details with AEW, because apparently this was most definitely a thing, and it almost happened with CM Punk debuting in AEW. But of course, we all know what happened. He decided to sign with WWE Backstage, which is a Fox ran program. He worked for Fox, and of course, we all know that show's been canceled. Like tons of other shit has been canceled here lately. So Conan, he was talking about the talks between CM Punk and AEW during the interview with Keeping It 100, which is, again, a podcast he was on. He said the deal fell through not because CM Punk had turned him down, but instead he had simply asked for an astronomical, quote unquote, amount of money. It ended up being way too much for AEW. Now, I want to let that sink in for a minute. The money that CM Punk, now again, consider the source. I'm just going by what I'm reading. But if it's too damn much money for Tony Khan, how much friggin' money is CM Punk asking for, man?
Honestly, if this is true, I would say that CM Punk probably threw out a ridiculous number just to see if it would stick. And Tony Khan, being the businessman that he is, said, well, no, just to see if he would be like, okay, well, how about this number? Not thinking that CM Punk is that damn hard-headed to say, oh, well, okay.
Yeah, well, From the reports that I'm reading, CM Punk reached out to AEW. That in and of itself is very interesting. And I would love for anyone that has better information to reach out. Again, pointiswhat@gmail.com. We'll have you on the show. You can send a video in, whatever you want to do. But it's interesting to me. I want to know the truth. Did AEW reach out to Punk, or did CM Punk reach out to AEW? Because if Punk reached out to AEW, that speaks volumes. Now, you know as well as I do, the longer you're out of the limelight, the harder it is to get back into it.
It's interesting because before AEW officially premiered on TNT, there was rumor going around that Cody had talked to him and he had turned it down.
I remember that.
And now they're saying that there's a possibility that CM Punk changed his mind and approached AEW. Not shortly after signing a deal with Fox to be on WWE Backstage, nonetheless. It seems a little weird to me personally.
Well, you do know that the whole Fox, the WWE Backstage show, that was kind of out of the blue too. I mean, that deal came out of the blue. That really wasn't a whole lot of talks about it. I mean, it just kind of happened. So it makes you wonder. We all know CM Punk, Phil Brooks. He's kind of a willy-nilly kind of guy, man. He's a fly-by-the-seat-of-your-pants dude. Look, he's made his money. He doesn't owe anybody anything. But I'll ask you this, straight up. Like I said, WWE Backstage has been canceled. It's gone. It's not coming back. So, Haystacks, what's next for CM Punk?
Honestly, I see him signing with either WWE or AEW. He's got to. In this business, nobody has ever really done, man. We know that. I would honestly think it would be a better chance that he would re-sign with WWE on like a Brock Lesnar-ish type schedule and contract.
Well, keep in mind that the creative freedom that AEW gives its performers. And we all know how CM Punk likes creative freedom. Look at his theme music.
I just don't see him. I don't see him pulling that many dates, honestly.
Right.
Because the thing with AEW is not only are they tied in with themselves, but they're also tied in with New Japan. They're tied in with AAA down in Mexico. They're also tied in with Ring of Honor. Their guys are allowed to go everywhere. And as soon as he signs that contract with AEW, the first thing that's going to happen is here comes New Japan. Hey, can you do a date here? Here's going to come AAA. Hey, can you do a date here? Here's going to come Ring of Honor. Hey, can you do a date here? And he's going to get burnt out, pissed off, and do the same thing that he did with WWE.
Yeah, true story. True story. So
with WWE, he can walk in and be like, okay, I want to do 3 Raws a year, SummerSlam, WrestleMania, period. That's it.
Yeah, well, that very well may happen. With the money he's offering or asking for, I don't know the numbers. I'm sure that's going to come out here soon because people can't keep secrets. We learned that not too long ago. So people love starting shit. So we will definitely find out what that number is before it's over with.
The money that they offered Brock Lesnar for as little merchandise sales and as little ticket sales as Brock. I'm not knocking Brock Lesnar, but I don't think there's ever been a time in Brock Lesnar's career that he's even been in the top 5 of merchandise sales for WWE. The contract and the money they offered him, there's no reason that they wouldn't double that for CM Punk because the dude sells merchandise.
He does.
You can put 2 lightning bolts with a fist on it on a dog turd, and you could sell it.
True story. Now, Brock Lesnar did have a hell of a run with merchandise, the whole Suplex City gimmick.
Right, yeah.
Yeah,
But
I mean,
still,
he had,
I think beat out by John Cena. He was getting beat out by Bray Wyatt. He was getting beat out by Triple H.
yeah. So we'll see what happens with CM Punk, man. CM Punk, I'll say this: he needs to shit or get off the pot. He's been out of the game a while now. So if he's going to do it, he needs to pull the trigger and do it. And I'd love to see him and AJ Styles. I'd love to see, man, there's so many matches in WWE. I'd love to see him and Darby Allin in AEW. But there's a lot of matches I'd love to see on both sides. And hell, who's to say he can't do both? You sign a 1 year with WWE or AEW just to piss WWE off? Do your thing, a couple of dates, and then boom, pop back over to WWE. But moving on, want to give a shout out real quick before we take our break. Well deserved, I swear to God, man. You know, every now and then in the pro wrestling world, and I know we've been all about pro wrestling so far. Second half of the show will not be, but I gotta say, man, every so often in the pro wrestling world, somebody wins a title. And it really makes you step back and go, man, that's all right. Good for him. And I haven't had that feeling in a long time, Haystacks. I really haven't. But I had that feeling this past week. Congratulations and shout out to Keith Lee, the NXT brand of WWE. He defeated Adam Cole to become the NXT champion. And kudos to you. That's got to, man, that's a guy there who he's not had it the roughest of anybody, but to see a guy like that make it, you know, hopefully he doesn't get called up and he stays for a little while. Although you saw what he did in the Rumble.
Right.
I'm very proud and happy to hear that, man. I'm happy for Keith Lee. So,
Absolutely. You know damn good and well I'm always real excited when I see a big man do something spectacular. And yeah, it's pretty amazing, man.
Absolutely. So go ahead and take a break. We'll come back here in just a second. We'll jump back into the rest of the day's topics and the goings on of this past week, and then we'll wrap this thing up when I drop the point on that ass. But right now, I got to drop something else. So I'll see you on the flip.
Join us next week for another action-packed episode of The Point.
Hey everybody, welcome back from the break again. Appreciate you staying tuned and clicking that like, clicking that submit, clicking that subscribe, share, all that good stuff that comes along with the grand old platform of YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, and Pony Express. What is it that guy says? Vic DiBitetto? Your sister's ass. All that good stuff. Shout out to Vic, man. Love that guy. So jumping right back into this, man, the big news this week, I think probably the biggest story this week, other than Kaepernick, is, of course, Patrick Mahomes. Exactly. So Patrick Mahomes signed this record-breaking 10-year deal with the Kansas City Chiefs worth up to, keyword, up to $503 million this past Monday, making it the largest contract in sports history. The Super Bowl champion and MVP will be with the Kansas City Chiefs, at least it appears, through 2031. Your thoughts?
It's a pretty ballsy move for Kansas City.
Yeah, I'd say so.
To bank on in today's world with these soft kids and the game of football, that you're going to have a quarterback that's going to survive another 10 seasons.
Will he? Will he not?
As bad as I hate to say it, because I'm not a fan of the guy, we are no longer in the era of the Tom Bradys that want to play until they're 75 years old.
True
We're
story.
in the lazy era where these kids want to make their millions and be done in 3 or 4 years.
And you can't blame them. If you're being honest with yourself, you can't blame them.
Absolutely. Absolutely. It's a ballsy move by Kansas City. When I first saw the contract, man, I had to read it again because I thought somebody had signed damn Alex Rodriguez to another big deal, for crying out loud. You don't see those kind of numbers in football.
True, and I'm glad you brought that point up, because that's the point I want to make in those key words, up to $503 million. You have to understand, NFL money's not like MLB money.
Right.
It's not guaranteed he's going to make 503. He could possibly make up to 503. He's more along the lines of probably 260, 270. But you have incentives in there, just like with any other NFL contract, that states, if he makes MVP every single year, which you and I both know that's not going to happen, they certainly could, but it's not probably not going to. There's a $25 million per year incentive. So you can probably more than likely scratch maybe all, if not, all but 1 year off of that. And that in and of itself takes, at least $200 million off the table. And then there's a hell of a lot of other perks too. It's got Super Bowls, playoff wins, winning records, scoring titles, whatever, division titles. But to say all that, hey, congratulations to Patrick Mahomes, because whether or not he makes the $503 million is irrelevant. This young man has made it, and he signed a damn contract that's the biggest in sports history. So kudos to him. But now it's time to put in that work, because, see, this coming year, he's not going to make, by NFL standards, by his contract standards, he's not going to make a whole hell of a lot. Now, to me and you, of course, it's life-changing money. He's only going to make in the single digits as far as the millions. The following year, 2022-23 season, that's when he's going to start getting paid. Now, can he stay healthy between now and then? Can the team stay in their winning ways between now and then, especially given the fact that COVID-19 is running rampant? We'll see. We'll see. Because one thing I'd like to touch on before we move on is that I don't think people understand this COVID shit is really putting a damper on OTAs. It's really putting a damper on practice. It's putting a damper on, we've heard everybody and their brother seems to be testing positive for this shit now. And It's going to be interesting to see how this plays out. And you know as well as I do, the teams that don't put in the work, because whether they don't or they can't, that has a hell of an impact on the season, man.
Yep. It's going to be interesting to see how all this plays out. Shortened season. Who's going to be able to play? Who's not?
Yeah. So it'll be interesting to see how it all plays out, man. But nonetheless, he made a shit ton of money, or he's going to, and kudos to him. Young man is set. His family's set. Hopefully he's smart with it and stays away from all the glad-handing yes man and really does something good for himself, invest that money. So kudos to him. Now, the other big story coming out of the sports world, and this is coming out of the NBA community. We talked about it 100,000 times on this show, how they are bound and determined to finish this season, which I think personally is asinine. But at the end of this month, there will be, as of now, firing the season back up. They're all in the bubble down in Orlando, right? And they've all arrived for the most part. Some players showing up, a little bit later than others, such as James Harden. He'll be showing up later than the rest of the team. But the big news this week has been their food service. And I'm bringing this up for a reason because I think this needs to be talked about, because I understand these people are athletes, but some of this shit is just over the top, man. I mean, when you're so spoiled that you don't even know you're spoiled, it's hilarious to me. Okay, so there's been all over Twitter, Instagram, all this shit. All the players have been posting pictures of their meals basically being served on trays, looking like something that you would have in high school, middle school, elementary school. And, you see a salad, you see a fruit cup, you see all this shit. And these players are actually posting this stuff and bitching and complaining about the food that they have to eat. Now, keep in mind, it's the first 48 hours and 48 hours only, because they are quarantined for that first 48 hours to make sure they don't show any symptoms and to be tested, right? So is this a matter of them being spoiled, or is this a matter of they're not being treated fairly?
It's a matter of they're a bunch of whiners that want freaking attention. I mean, who cares?
Yeah.
Y'all ain't paying for it. The NBA's paying for it. They're bringing you guys room service. Shut up.
And by the way, it's only 48 hours. By the way, that 48 hours is up now. But we live in a culture to where if you fart, you have to post about it. You know what I mean?
I missed one earlier.
You got to stay on top of it, Haystacks. You got to stay on top of that kind of stuff, man. So, in that same vein, I think they will live. I think they will be just fine. But in that same vein, again, the coronavirus is running wild on the NBA right now. Now, let's put this in perspective. And we talked about this on prior episodes, but now you can see what we were talking about coming to light, okay? The prophecy, if you will, has been fulfilled. COVID-19 is bad. They keep telling us COVID-19 is bad. It's killing people. But you want to finish the season, right? So instead of finishing the season, keeping people separate and all this shit, and just going to and from, having an itinerary, you take all these people and pack them into one tiny area. And that's supposed to slow the spread of coronavirus? No, man. These people are testing positive. These players are testing positive for COVID-19 at a freakishly alarming rate. So what's going to happen, you and I both know, is everybody's going to end up testing positive for this shit, and the ones that are testing positive can't play. So what the hell is the point of starting the season back up and finishing the season in this kind of fashion?
The almighty dollar.
Right?
We got to make a statement, man. We talked about it last week. You don't know. It's not about sports entertainment. We got a narrative that we got to push right now, man. It's super important. We gotta sell merchandise, and we got to put slogans on jerseys. You notice you haven't heard anything about rosters. You haven't heard anything about contracts. You haven't heard anything about schedules. We haven't heard anything about the playoffs. We haven't heard anything about players. All we've heard is we're going to have, I ain't doing it this week, we're going to have bullshit spread all over the back of people's jerseys to make merchandise sales.
Donkey peckers matter.
Yeah.
Oh, let me write that down.
Holy shit.
Yeah, buddy. So,
yeah, I mean, that's basically where we're at, man. You haven't heard anything since the NBA has said this is what we're going to do. we've heard no plan as to how it's going to go. We've heard no scheduling information whatsoever. We haven't heard anything on the format of how this playoff is going to go. It's all been, oh, we're gonna paint slogans on the court. Oh, we're gonna put fancy stuff on the backs of jerseys. We're gonna pander so people keep tuning in, but we have absolutely no idea what happens when 250 of the 275 people come up with coronavirus and we don't have a season.
The almighty dollar, simply put.
We're making sure that that Nike they're getting their millions off of their 22 cents a week labor. You know, they're excellent employees. We don't want to say oppressed because, you know, that don't fit.
Of course not. So, yeah, you know, we're going to see how this plays out, and unfortunately, we're going to see this play out on national television. If Adam Silver had any sense at all, and the head of the NBA Players Association, if they had any sense at all, they would go ahead and pull the plug on this and move on to next year and start planning for next season. And even that is going to be.
The election will already be over. There won't be a narrative for next year. We've got to go now.
Yeah, and that's the problem. We need to get back to sports and playing sports for what the hell they were intended to be. So, yeah, again, November's coming. Once November comes and goes, it'll tone back down. But while we're already talking about it, we might as well keep talking about it. The Washington Redskins. Right? I know that's taboo. I'm racist. But and we talked about before the Cleveland Indians and President Trump. He came out. He had a comment about it too, but I won't get into that. But this shit's been all over the news. When it's to the point where President Trump talks about it, then you know it's reached the highest peaks it's going to reach as far as attention goes. And it certainly does appear. We talked about last week on last week's episode that the Washington Redskins, their biggest sponsor, FedEx. The FedEx Field in Landover, Maryland, where they play, they basically said, you change the name or we're out. Basically, you're going to change the damn name. And that certainly appears to be the case, Haystacks, and all of you out there watching, because apparently Amazon has already, which of course is the end-all be-all now in retail, especially due to COVID. So if you don't have Amazon stock, now's a damn good time to, well, now's not a good time to buy, but it's a damn good time to have Amazon stock. I do. Pat myself on the back. But Amazon has pulled all of the Washington Redskins merchandise.
Sounds to me like those workers over in China, they demanded a raise to 22 cents a day instead of a week. So now we gotta shut them down.
Yeah, this certainly seems to be happening, man. And we saw a clip, a news article you sent it to me actually, where another team actually offered up their name, the Renegades.
Yeah, I can't remember who that was.
I want to say it was a minor league team in that same area?
Harlem Globetrotters.
Was it? Yeah.
Yeah, Harlem Globetrotters offered to sell them their name, one of the team's names that are in their league. Basically, it's just a spit in the face, you know, cancel culture. This is the problem with cancel culture is they're too stupid to realize that what they're fighting is the exact opposite of what it means. I shared with everybody last week a quote from Sitting Bull where he was very proud, and most Native Americans are very proud to be a red man. That's their culture. They're a very
Absolutely.
proud people. And to sit here and have it's hilarious to me because you have Black Lives Matter that are saying we don't want the white people speaking for us, but yet we've got every culture on God's green earth right now speaking for the Native American people.
Right.
And all the Native American people are saying is, hey, can we end this COVID-19 crap so people can start coming back to our casinos so we can start taking your damn money? We don't care if you're white, black, purple, blue, or green. We just want you to come here and spend your money at our casinos because you dumbasses shoved us on this reservation that was chock full of oil and gold deposits, and we took full advantage of it because we knew the land and you dipshits didn't.
That's right. So, it's, again, as many times as we talk about it, and I feel like it's a broken down record, we talk about it a lot, but where does this shit end, man? It's got to end somewhere. It's got to end somewhere. It's going to end somewhere. But the Redskins, I don't know that you could ever watch the classic game of the Cowboys and Redskins. How in the hell could you ever watch that game again and be excited for it after the Redskins changed their name? It'll never be the same again.
Here's the thing. And this is where people that actually think for themselves, this is where we come into play. It doesn't do any good because most of you out there that have made your mind up, you're too stupid to actually think of things like this. And then when we say it, you still want to argue. But anybody that honestly thinks that the NFL Network and NFL 24/7 and their app, anybody that honestly believes that they are going to completely delete every single Redskins game off of their record books and out of their video archives, you're a dumbass. They're still going to be making the bank on the Redskins name.
Right.
Period. The NFL is. They just don't want anybody else to be able to make the money on the Redskins name, which is capitalism, which you people say you hate, you stupid bastards.
Message. So keep this in mind, okay? What's the point of changing the name if that's still going to be there? Okay, it's still going to be out there. There's nothing you can do about that. There's not a damn thing you can do about it. It's not going anywhere.
It's kind of like smashing your thumb with a hammer, and you run around and you scream F and you have a tantrum for about 5 minutes. It doesn't really change anything, but at the present moment, you sit here and you kind of look back and you're like, wow, I really did something. And that's basically the same analogy. It's not really doing anything other than right now. What it's going to do is all these bandwagon dumbasses, when they change their name to the freaking DC Fairies or whatever the hell it's going to be, you're going to sell a bunch of damn merchandise to a bunch of dipshits that want to be like, oh, look, we're part of history. We look at what we did. We accomplished something. We changed the name of a football team. We didn't do shit about homelessness. We didn't do shit about suicide awareness. We didn't do shit about HIV and AIDS research. We didn't do shit about cancer research. We didn't do a damn thing about the real police brutality, the very 0.0001% that there is in this country. We didn't do shit about inner city schools. We didn't do shit for the black community as far as getting them better education, better resources inside the inner city schools.
Preach.
We changed a football team's name. That's what we accomplished. Piss on all that other stuff. That's not important. Right?
Message. I think the real point that needs to be taken away from this particular topic is that to really get through to people and have them understand the point that we're making here, because this is the damn point. So, and this is the point of this conversation. Listen to me. You're driving up the merchandise that exists with the Redskins name on it. The shit that you hate is now going to be worth 20 times the amount of money that it was worth before. The best thing you could do is leave it alone. Message. So I think that's a good place to break off from that topic for this week anyway. But as we're talking about the coronavirus and COVID-19, I'm sure you've heard the Ivy League, college sports, the entire Ivy League canceled. And the report that I got is Stanford University alone cut 11 varsity sports. Hell, I can't even name 11 sports. I don't know what all they have, but they canceled 11 varsity sports just at Stanford alone. I mean, the Ivy League, man, the entire Ivy League, the entire thing canceled. Every sport. So I think we're starting to see a realization of something that we were afraid was going to happen. I think it's starting to happen, and people coming to grips with the sports seasons that are coming up, time to start kicking off certain things. I think people are starting to see this reality happen, that we might be without sports a little bit longer. This second wave of the coronavirus that they said was quite possible going into early fall. Well, we're in summer now, but they opened everything back up. People rushed to the beaches. They rushed out everywhere. And now, whether whether coronavirus is killing a ton of people or not, the virus itself, of course, is spreading like hell now because everybody just said, I don't give a shit. And so now, of course, that bleeds over to the sports world as well. And, I think we were doing just fine, man, if we would have just been normal people and done our normal shit. I don't think it would have been that bad. But it's just like the riots and everything else. You take everybody and you coop them up in one spot, and then you go, okay, the beaches are open. They take off, man, and so it's a combination of really shitty circumstances, and it seems to me that the sports world is taking the biggest ass whooping other than the economy.
Absolutely. On top of the Ivy League schools, you had the Big Ten say that they're only going to in-conference play. And I believe it was the Pac-12 as well, which screws a lot of teams. We were supposed to have Ohio State versus Oregon this year. That was a pretty big matchup, like second or third week of the year. But teams like Notre Dame that are an independent, that's a big chunk of their schedule gone. That's USC gone. They had 4 or 5 pretty big name games this year that half their schedule is done.
Yeah, we talked about that earlier several episodes ago. We talked about that was a possibility, but now it's happened.
Yeah, so, Notre Dame, with them not being in a conference, with them being independent, which everybody's been telling it in Notre Dame for years, that's why they've been getting left out of the college football playoff. Now it's kind of finally setting in like, oops.
Yeah. I want to let me get your opinion on this, and I know we're kind of running short. We're going to have to cut it here in a few minutes, but This is important to talk about. We were just talking about, you said a minute ago, think. Use your head. And we touched on the stuff with, the Redskins and the name changes and, all this different shit. Put this in perspective and listen to what I'm saying here. What difference does it make playing in conference or just playing a regular season? Now, let me explain. All the people involved with those teams, whether they live 30 minutes from here or whether they live 2 states over, what the hell difference does it make? The virus spreads either way. It doesn't make sense. These are people that have book smart, that are dumber than hell, don't have any common sense, that are trying to open your eyes, people, because this shit makes no sense. If the coronavirus is that bad and I keep my ass, the only way to keep it from spreading to me is to keep my ass in the house. And guess what? If I go to my mailbox or take a package from the UPS man, I'm still just as susceptible getting the damn coronavirus as I am flying to Washington State on vacation. It doesn't make any damn sense.
Basically, what they're going to have to do, if we really want to do this stuff, man, people are going to have to be told. And if they're wanting to do it, again, think. With this next line of stimulus checks that we're getting, they need to tell people, here's the deal, dummies. Don't blow it on another nice new TV. Don't blow it on, stupid shit. This is what's going to happen. We're going to shut this bitch down for 30 days. Go to the freaking grocery store and buy 30 days worth of effing food. Like a big boy and big girl and an adult. Buy diapers for 30 days for your kids. Novel concept for some, I know. Oops.
Damn. How much money you got?
Yeah. Spray them down the hose, be all right.
Like you said, stimulus check. How many people spent that on blowing hookers? I didn't. I'm just. Seriously.
I might know a guy.
Yeah. I know exactly who you're talking about.
But I mean, really, if it's this serious, even Walmart, I know they want to say Walmart is essential. The only thing that needs to be open right now is the Walmart and Kroger pharmacy.
Yeah.
Period.
True story.
And most Kroger pharmacies, most CVS pharmacies, most Walgreens pharmacies have a drive-up window or a walk-up window.
Right.
If Walmart can't afford that, if they can't squeeze that into their multi-billion-dollar budget, guess what? You're shit out of luck. You probably should have thought about that one a little bit better. But that's what they need to tell these people. Be like, look, this isn't for you to go blow on dumb shit. We're seriously going to shut this thing down for a whole month to kill this thing off. Get prepared. We are giving you 2 weeks to get fully prepared, and we're shutting it down.
Exactly. Don't be trying to redo your back porch. Don't be like buying trim for your kitchen floor.
I know a guy.
Yeah, buy the shit you need, man.
Don't be trying to go and pay your mortgage in half so you can pay it off next year.
I know a guy.
I really know a guy. But I mean, seriously, man. They keep sitting here and, everybody knows, damn it, I'm I'm a fan of the damn president. If you don't like that opinion, piss up a rope. I don't care. The dude keeps saying it's going to be very generous. Very generous. Okay, well, make it damn generous and then make the stipulation that those 30 days we're going to shut it down. Obviously, the economy is going to come back. Last month's job reports, I'm not trying to go damn Fox News and CNN on everybody here. Last month's job reports, we created damn 48,000 damn jobs. 4,800, 48,000. It doesn't matter. When all this is said and done, the economy is going to come back through the policies that have been put in place through this president, not a previous moron. It's going to come back. So while it's going to suck for the economy and while it's going to suck for the country for 30 days, in the long run, it's going to benefit it because we're going to be able to get out of this crap and finally be done with it.
Absolutely, man. So
here's the thing. If people don't follow it, if people go and they want to go and, go buy a damn Escalade on a rental to try to look cool for their buddies for damn 2 or 3 weeks, guess what? Starve, stupid.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
If you're that stupid, starve.
Hey, you got a point. You got a point. So, and after all, again, that's what the show's called, The Point. So, speaking of which, we've come to the end of yet another great episode. We hope everybody out there has enjoyed it, but it is not the very end because it is my turn to drop the point on that ass this week, and that is exactly what I am getting ready to do. I do believe it's my turn.
It is. I also want to give one quick shout out that you brought up the other day. Mr. Paul out there.
Paul Williams.
Yeah, with his some health concerns and shit.
Absolutely.
Big ass man. We're here for you. We love you.
Absolutely.
Get her done. We're pulling for you, brother.
Paul Williams of Hamlet, North Carolina. He's a big fan of the show. He's a big fan of Haystacks and War Chain. He's a big fan of Ricky B and Scotty Newland, the person. So definitely big shout out to him. Had a little bit of a scare, but I think he's going to be all right. One of the best dudes walking the planet. He's a black guy. Oh, yeah. He's a man. He's just a guy. He's a good guy. He's a damn good Christian man. Love him to death. I just, for those of you who don't know, I just turned a big 4-0, had a birthday, and this man spoiled me rotten, man, like as if we were blood, man. So, yeah, he really made a birthday that probably could have been otherwise shitty. And it was a damn bright spot between, of course, my boy Haystacks and Paul. So, yeah, absolutely. So,
yeah, I thought it was 6-0, not 4-0. That's my bad. But
well, I forgive you because it looks like 6-0. But anyway,
I wanted to throw that in there for Paul, man, because the dude supported us since damn day one. He's always here to watch. He's always, shooting questions and comments and giving us feedback and stuff, and we appreciate the hell out of it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. As a matter of fact, I can't wait to see him again. I will see him Wednesday, so I'm sure he'll have a big smile on his face when he sees the episode. I'm sure he'll shoot me a message because he watches religiously, and we appreciate the shit out of him. But much like this ball of paper here, it's time for the point to hit the bricks, and it's time for me to drop the point on that ass. Haystacks, as always, I love you. I enjoyed the shit out of it. Again, we hope you all enjoyed it. But stay tuned because I'm getting ready to drop some real shit. We're going to get a little deep this week, and I'm going to lay it on that ass. So until next week, Haystacks, got any last words?
Let's get on out of here.
Sounds good to me. Deuces. Ladies and gentlemen, again, another great episode, and it's time to drop the point on that ass for this week. Now, as I sit here all dignified, sitting in front of my American flag, it seems to me that the shit just never ends, and I guess it's just not going to end. And you know, I don't know what your religion is out there watching the show. Maybe you're a follower of Islam. Maybe you're a Christian. Maybe you're a Buddhist. You know, maybe you're Jewish. Maybe you're any number of facets of different religions and all this. I want to make something perfectly clear right here and now. We all have a heartbeat. We all have the same color of blood. It doesn't matter unless you make it matter. Right is right, wrong is wrong. Let's take out the wrong. Let's keep the right. Let's focus on that, but let's focus. Focus being the key word. I don't think it's that hard myself. I'm not by any means a privileged man. I've busted my ass for everything that I have, and that's why I'm able to sit here every week and enjoy the comfort of an air conditioning house in front of an American flag that I purchased with my hard-earned money that I bust my ass for. And I get to sit here every week and give you the point and have fun doing it with myself and Haystacks. Now, simply put, there's a whole lot of ignorance and a whole lot of shit going on in this country right now that, simply put, doesn't need to happen. But much like we talked about with the Redskins' name, driving up prices of products and things like that, if you really, and I wish I could go back and tell my younger self the same thing, because a lot of you out there right now that are doing some of the ignorant shit that's going on, when you get older, when you get a little bit more of this color going on, you're going to listen and you're going to remember when I said these words, or when someone else said these words, and you're going to have an aha moment. You're going to have what a lot of alcoholics refer to as a moment of clarity. And that moment of clarity, simply put, is going to be, oh shit, none of that really ever mattered. And right now, as you doing all the shit that you're doing out there right now, some of you doing the right thing, a lot of you not doing the right thing, you're going to realize what was really important to begin with. One another, love, happiness, peace, and positivity, hard work and building something and being about something other than 5 seconds of fame on TikTok or being B-roll in the background of CNN. I'll leave it there for this week, but until next time, it's been your boy Ricky B, and I don't give a damn what color you are. I don't give a damn what sex you are. I don't care what gender you claim. The point, Ricky B, Haystacks, we're always going to be here to have your damn back, because if nobody else in the world does, you can bet your ass we do. See you next time.
Thank you for watching The Point.
Goodbye, cruel world.